Well, good Friday evening, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the beautiful day today because we are going to see the chance for thunderstorms move back into the areas we head into tomorrow. Not the way we want to start the weekend, but luckily this is going to clear out by Sunday. Sunday definitely looks a lot better for us to get outside and should be a beautiful end to the weekend. But we did get an update from the Storm Prediction Center. You can see most of the southern CSRA is now included in a slight severe weather risk. So this means scattered severe weather reports are anticipated wherever you see your county highlighted in yellow. That includes most of Burke, all of Jenkins, Emmanuel, Screven, Allendale, Bamberg, Barnwell, Johnson, Jefferson, Washington counties. That's where the severe weather threat looks highest tomorrow. Since that line is going to be impacting y'all mainly after lunchtime, you're going to have a little bit more time to kind of destabilize and add some energy to the atmosphere above you. For us here in Augusta and anywhere north of I-20, anywhere up towards Clarks Hill, the northern CSRA, still a marginal risk, so cannot rule out that you do see a severe storm tomorrow. It just looks like less of a chance you would, since those storms are going to impact you first a little bit earlier into the day. Now, what types of severe weather are we talking about? We're talking about isolated tornadoes, potentially seeing hail up to the size of quarters, strong winds, even away from thunderstorms tomorrow. It is going to be a very windy day. We're going to see wind gusts anywhere from 30, 35 miles an hour before storms and after storms once they do clear out. Not expecting much of a flood risk. This is going to be a relatively quick moving line of storms, so not really going to sit on top of for too long to pose much of a flood risk. But take a look at what's happening across the country right now. This is a current look at Doppler Max radar. We actually did get confirmation of a pretty significant tornado that did touch down near Little Rock, Arkansas earlier this afternoon. This system has been producing a ton of tornado warnings across the area, severe thunderstorm warnings as well, all the way from East Texas into Wisconsin, so all the way up towards the Great Lakes, and actually kind of approaching Chicago now, some very dangerous confirmed tornadoes on the ground with that cluster of warnings there in northern Illinois. Those ingredients are going to be making its way towards us tomorrow, and why we do have a severe weather threat. The threat for severe weather for the rest of this evening and tonight for these areas is a lot higher than what we're expecting tomorrow. So I don't want you to anticipate this type of weather for us here tomorrow. We are expecting the chance for severe weather, but there's just an abundance of tornadic ingredients available for these areas the rest of this evening and tonight. We're going to have some of those ingredients tomorrow, but not all of them. So we are expecting the chance, but looking much more likely that severe weather does impact those areas west of us tonight. Let's take a look at the hour-by-hour forecast. So for this evening and tonight, any plans you have, looking good to go. It is going to be fairly cloudy as we head into daybreak tomorrow, but temperatures are going to stay pretty warm tonight. We're only going to drop into the 60s as we head towards daybreak Saturday. Winds will start picking up early into the morning, so even around sunrise, you're going to start noticing that wind is getting pretty gusty out there. And then as we head towards around 8, 10 a.m., that's when it starts to impact the northern CSRA. So if you live in Washington, Lincolnton, McCormick, you're expecting the chance for storms to be before the lunch hour. Once we get closer to around noontime, that's when they're starting to impact us here in Augusta. And as they continue to drop further south past noon, that's where the threat for severe weather is really going to be starting to intensify. You can see our in-house model here definitely favoring much stronger storms as this line does dive south of I-20. Most likely because it is hitting some better daytime heating. Anything ahead of that line after the lunch hour, you're just going to be able to destabilize and produce those tornadic and severe thunderstorm ingredients much easier. So the line is basically from Barnwell through Waynesboro, Louisville, Sandersville. Anything south of that, I would imagine that's where the severe weather threat is going to be highest. And that, for our southern counties, the timing is mainly going to be after 12, 1 o'clock. And then by the time we get to around 3 or 4 o'clock, most of that rain's out of here and we're clearing out on Sunday. So your location plays a big role in what time you're expecting the chance for rain on Saturday. I'm going to actually back this up again, and we're going to play this again. So once again, if you live north of Augusta, anywhere like downtown Washington, Lincolnton, McCormick, Edgefield, Saluda, Sparta, all the way up through the northern and western CSRA, you're going to see the storms first. So most likely before lunchtime is when you're expecting the rain to arrive. For us here in Augusta, Evans, Aiken, anywhere kind of along this I-20 corridor. Thompson, you're included in that. Our rain chances kind of peak around the noon hour, but we definitely could see rain show up a little bit earlier. Remember, timing is not set in stone, folks. I know that's the big thing that everyone wants with these type forecasts. Tell me the exact time that we are going to see rain. It's impossible to do, folks. I can give you a broad time range, but these storms have a mind of their own sometimes. It's impossible to model 100% correctly. So just keep in mind that you do need to stay weather aware. As long as you have our First Alert weather app downloaded, very easy to look at interactive radar, see if those norms are still west of you or if they've already pushed east of you. Once that line of stronger storms is east of you, you're going to dry out the rest of the day. You're still going to be pretty windy behind that front, but it's just going to be a quick moving line of storms. So if you're ahead of the line, still expect rain. If the line is already past you, you look dry for the rest of today. So heading into tomorrow morning, this is just kind of a more hour-by-hour view of those rain chances. This is specifically for us here in Augusta. So right around daybreak, not much in the way of rain chances. Once we get past around 10 a.m., that's when it's looking much more likely that we could be impacted by some showers and even thunderstorms. So our window for us here in Augusta, between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. That's when the likelihood is highest for us here in Augusta to see those thunderstorms. If you live south of Augusta, just put that time frame forward an hour or so. So if you live in the southern CS area to where the rain chances or the severe weather threat does look highest, your impact would be kind of 1 p.m. to 3 p.m., so on and so forth. But once these storms clear you, your skies will clear out pretty quick. It's still going to be a very windy day, and that's one thing to mention. Even if you don't see a strong thunderstorm tomorrow, it's still going to be a pretty gusty, windy afternoon for us. We are going to see these lake wind advisories and even straight up wind advisories stay in effect through midnight Sunday. So all day Saturday, during the day, starting in the morning, lasting through the afternoon, even behind the thunderstorms, we're expecting those wind gusts to be 30 to 35 miles an hour. This is definitely enough to impact play there at the Augusta National for the final day of the Augusta National Women's Am. They're going to have to battle the wind a little bit, even for those earlier tee times. And I would imagine they likely do have to get off the course at least for an hour or so once those storms move on through. Here's a look at our potential rain totals. Hasn't changed too much. I would say if you get underneath a thunderstorm, you have a good chance of receiving 1/2 an inch to 3/4 of an inch. If you stay on the outskirts, most likely around 1/4 of an inch at that. So just kind of dependent on who sees the heaviest rain and where those storms end up lining through. So just a heads up, heavy rain at times, but not enough to really pose a widespread flood risk across the area. If you are planning to head out to the National tomorrow, early tee times do look dry. I would say anytime before 10 a.m., not much rain here in Augusta, but any time past 10 a.m. through the lunch hour, that's when we're expecting some pretty wet conditions. But notice the wind. We were looking at wind gusts. This is our sustained winds. We'll be above 10 miles an hour early, closer to 20 miles an hour by the lunch hour, and especially into the afternoon. And that wind direction will be changing some. It will kind of go from the south-southwest to more west-northwest once that front does pass all the way through the area. So the best way to stay in the know of what's expected tomorrow, just make sure you have our First Alert weather app downloaded. That's the easiest way to look at the hour-by-hour forecast. You can pull up the interactive radar. Any type of severe weather alert for your location will be sent directly to your phone. So a great tool to have whenever we have these hit or miss storm chances. Good news is we're back to dry weather by Sunday. Early next week, mostly dry. Cannot rule out a stray shower between Monday and Wednesday next week, but it's really looking like Thursday and Friday is when a front's going to get close to us again and bring us a little bit better opportunity for some showers and storms. But stay safe out there tomorrow. We'll keep you updated, and we'll have another update for you coming up on News 12 at 11.